Guys, look! Look, it's a DC movie that's not Batman! They actually did it! They gave us a movie about a completely different hero. I mean, you know, Batman is in it, sure, but he's not in it much. And they're actually, you know, it's about Superman. It's all about Superman, who is, I guess, the, you know, second most marketed DC hero. But still, it's a nice break from all those Batman movies they put out. So, of course, the movie is based off the famous storyline that came out, I think, around 1992, 1993, sometime around then. I remember when that was announced. That was a huge deal. Like, it was on the news. Everybody was talking about it. Comic book shops everywhere were crowded. People were lined up around the block to get a copy of The Death of Superman. In fact, I'm actually surprised that I was able to get a copy when this first came out, because there were so many people out to get this. Look, I even have a copy still sealed in its original bag. Yeah, I bought 2 of them. I kept one sealed so it can go up in value. Still waiting. Though more to the point, I have read the comic, but unfortunately it has been a while, so I don't remember every single little detail about it. I remember all the important bits about it, so I'm just going by what I can remember. Though ever since then I have been hoping that somebody would do a faithful adaptation of the storyline. Now, I know they used parts of the storyline for stuff for the Justice League cartoon, and of course there was this movie, Superman Doomsday, which, fun fact, this was the very first animated DC movie. And I don't remember a lot of people really liking this one, and personally, I found it kind of forgettable. But it seems they are trying to do a faithful adaptation of the storyline, or at the very least get as close to it as possible. Now, there are some noticeable changes with this from the original comic, but I think it's mostly because they are trying to integrate this with the animated universe DC has created for their direct-to-DVD movies. Which, to be honest, I had almost forgotten about, and I think it's mostly because of the long string of Elseworld Batman movies they kept putting out. I don't remember the last time we saw that, the animated universe. I think it was for Justice League Dark, or the last Teen Titans movie. I don't remember which one came out first. I don't remember if Suicide Squad Hell to Pay was supposed to be part of that, but you know what? They put out too many Batman movies. I cannot emphasize that enough. I've completely lost track of everything. Anyway, getting back to the movie, the major problem with it is the title kind of spoils everything, and yes, that was kind of a problem with the original comic too. So the movie is very slow, at least at first, because it's all about that build-up. And one of the things that they spent a lot of time on was the relationship between Superman, or rather Clark Kent, and Lois Lane. And they had many, many scenes together. They had a lot of very heartwarming moments, and the whole time you're just like, oh, look how cute they are together. Wouldn't it be a shame if something happened? And yes, Superman and Wonder Woman had broke off their relationship. At the very beginning of this storyline, way, way long ago, they did establish a romantic interest between Superman and Wonder Woman, but it seems that they've let it go and they're both okay with it. And thank God, because I'm going to be honest, Superman and Wonder Woman together are boring. And they spent a lot of time on Superman's most important character trait, his humanity. The thing that gets the viewer connected to a superpowered, near-indestructible character. And I've got to say, I'm beginning to really like this version of Superman. I don't think he's better than Superman from the Justice League cartoon, but he's definitely striking a lot of the same chords. And when Doomsday shows up, he is awesome. And I mean, he wrecks everybody. There's even a very brief scene where he shows up on like a campground, and they kind of play it up like it's a slasher movie, and it was really well done. And the fights, oh, the fights were well choreographed and well animated. Which brings me to my one major gripe with this movie. You see, in the comic, the first ones to engage Doomsday was Justice League International. But in this movie, it's just the Justice League, who pretty much get beat up in the same way, but it would have been really nice for them to introduce Justice League International, especially if they really want to build off this animated universe. It'll be a good opportunity to introduce a whole bunch of new characters. Look, all I want is more Booster and Beetles. That's so much to ask. I also really like Lex Luthor in this movie because they kind of played him up like he's a much more classic version of Lex Luthor. Like, he's very petty and conniving, and he's always up to something, and he was kind of a con man, and it was just great. And of course, spoilers, Superman dies at the end of the movie, and it's every bit as sad and dramatic as it's supposed to be. But of course, he doesn't stay dead. I'm pretty sure it's common knowledge by now, but then again, it's a comic book character, and as we know, comic book characters don't always stay dead, but for everyone who read the comic back in the day, they should know that, yes, he does come back in a later issue, and I believe a lot of people were kind of pissed about this, and rightfully so, because it revealed the death of Superman to be what it actually is, and that is an over-glorified publicity stunt. But hey, on the plus side, I also have that comic still sealed in its original bag. So surely this one will definitely go up in value. Any day now. What is cool about this is that they've already announced that there's going to be another movie coming out early next year, I think, which is basically going to be part 2 to this storyline. And it's going to be about the Supermen, the characters they established after Superman's death. So you got Cyborg Superman, Eradicator, Superboy, and of course Steel, who were each established in this movie. And I think that's pretty cool because while Superboy and Steel have appeared in animated works before, I don't think we've seen Cyborg Superman or Eradicator, so it'd be nice to see them, and hopefully they get a very faithful adaptation as well. So the thing about a movie like this is, even though we know how it's going to end, and it's, you know, obvious how it's going to end, we pretty much just have to judge this on how well it was adapted. And yeah, I think they did a really good job. I think they adapted this very well, especially considering they integrated it into the animated DC universe. So I would recommend it. So check out The Death of Superman. But that's all I got for The Death of Superman. Leave a comment below and let me know what you thought of it. My name is Rob, and if you'll excuse me, I have to go check eBay to see how much these have gone up over the years. I'm going to sell them. Maybe I can finally pay my bills around here.